Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's listening right now in the podcast. It is Saturday, November 30th, 2024. I wanted to come here and do this episode briefly regarding the missing couple that have been missing for a long time. And just recently we learned about, I guess, their outcome, right? This couple was never been seen since they were missing in 1980, okay? But before I continue, I want to say thank you so much to everybody who's listening using Spotify. Thank you so much for supporting me there. It really means a lot. Don't forget to follow the podcast so that every time I do a new episode, you can get a notification. And of course, thank you so much to everybody who watches this video on YouTube. And thank you so much for subscribing, everybody. I really hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Today is the Saturday after the Thanksgiving holiday. I really hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I just wanted to come here and do this because I feel like this year we have called 2024 the year of exposure, right? And I think after seeing so many things happening, specifically with celebrities and cases that had been, innocent people are coming out of jail too. Things are being revealed. Probably people thought that it was a closed case already, and this is why you always, when God knows, God sees everything, and a lot of people think they can get away with things, right? And we have to remember, sometimes when you look at the world the way it is, it looks as though people are losing the fear of the Lord, right? They think that they're going to go around and do crazy stuff, right? And in disguise, and that God is not going to see that. Like, always go back to the beginning, like in the garden, like they sinned and immediately they were thrown out of the garden, right? Always go back to the beginning. Sin is nothing to play around with, right? And just as you think God is not watching, He knows everything. Nothing escapes the Lord, right? And God hears the prayers of people asking for justice, right? Everything also comes in God's timing. You always have to remember that, but nobody's going to get away with doing evil in this world. People think that they do, though. People live this careless life, doing things behind people's back, enticing, and creating evil things, just complete evilness, right? And they think that God is just gonna be like, well, just do your thing, right? Everything's great. The sin in the garden should be the example for all of us. Yes, we know that Jesus paid the price on the cross, but that knowing that should even give you more like reverence to not sin or to stay away from doing evil things. It's no joke, okay? God doesn't play around with that, and God is a God of justice. So if God has a son or daughter praying for justice for an injustice that happened to them, you better believe that day will come and everything will be revealed and everything will be exposed. And this is not the first case that I heard, the cases that had happened years ago now are being, like I said, a lot of people are being free from jail, right? A lot of innocent people in jail. There's also a case, I think, I learned something interesting. I was reading something about this bridge in New York that was discovered because there was a lot of drought. I know in this area, in the East Coast, we haven't had rain for a long time. Just the last couple of days, we had some rain, but it hasn't happened in a while, right? That's why we had a lot of fires and things like that, right? So the bridge that was never seen because of, the water, it came kind of like it resurfaced again because there was a lot of drought. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that is just so amazing. This case I'm going to read to you guys about briefly is another example that everything comes in God's timing, right? And you just have to, you have to pray, like I said, and just put it in God's hands, okay? So a wealthy New York couple vanished without a trace in Georgia. Okay, I thought it was Florida. they were traveling from Florida to New York because they from Scarsdale, New York. Okay, it's not that far away from where I live in Richfield, Connecticut, but they're from Scarsdale, New York, and every winter they will uh, they will spend their time in Florida, staying away from the cold. Right, 44 years in a row, they were coming back from their Florida trip, and they stopped in Georgia to stay overnight at a hotel. This is a wealthy couple, and they were never seen before. I mean, talk about the family that dealt with this, right? It's so crazy to, like I cannot imagine not knowing what happened to your family member. Like that's crazy. Not only do you have to deal with the sadness of not seeing your loved one as you normally would do, but you will have to live so many years, you know, not knowing like if they're alive or not, like where are they, no closure, right? And this is what I'm saying. People playing with fire. They think that God doesn't hear the cries for justice that people have, right? People playing with fire thinking that they're gonna get away with things. Everything will be revealed, everything will come to the surface. What's done in the dark will come to light. And that's why I'm saying sometimes it seems as though people don't have the fear of the Lord anymore. Like it's crazy. And so let me continue to read here. 44 years ago, they were coming from Florida, and they stayed in Georgia overnight at a hotel. But it appears it took a pair of volunteer divers just 7 minutes to discover what likely their car remained submerged in a murky pond near a hotel that they were staying in. So their car, okay, it's so sad, you guys. Their car was found in a pond near the hotel they were staying in, like I just read. And it took the divers 7 minutes to discover, wait a second, there is a car here. Missing for 44 years. This family had no closure. Okay? And their car was found in a pond. And it took 7 minutes to be discovered. Okay? Retired oil executive, these are their names, Charles Romer, 73, and his wife, Catherine, 75, disappeared with their 1978 Lincoln in the spring of 1980. The Scarsdale, New York couple were returning home, like I said, from Miami Beach, Florida, and checking into the Holiday Inn in Brunswick. Hotel employees were concerned that their bed had not been sleeping and reported them missing. Fears were raised that the couple, known to carry expensive jewelry, had been victims of foul play and they were robbed. Okay? I'm just looking at the photos of them right now. The hotel is situated next to a pond which diver Mike Sullivan told the news that he had been searched many times before, but terrible visibility had prevented searches from making a breakthrough. That's what I'm saying. There's something with 2024 that is just bringing things to surface. I'm sure you have a couple missing and there is a pond near the hotel that they're staying in. I'm sure at some point that probably was searched before. It's almost like you're looking for something in your house, in your car, and you're like, man, I'm like, I used to do this a lot when I had the studio. I'm like, I am destroying the studio. And I cannot find it. Usually it will be like, I will looking for the Sim Reaper. And when you're looking for a Sim Reaper and you're doing a collection, that means you need it like ASAP. Like you needed it yesterday, right? So I'm like, I can't believe I don't know where it is. And then I would just sit and think, and I look over my little cabinet, and I can see it right there in the drawer. I'm like, how did I miss it? It's right in my face. Things that happen like that. I think it's a human nature thing. Sometimes things are right in our faces and we don't see it. It could be so many things too. It says here that they had an issue with visibility, and they could never find they never found anything in that pond. But the cold case suddenly heated up this Friday when Sullivan and his brother John Martin searched the pan in the tiny 6-foot long boat and their specialized sonar equipment pinched a vehicle at the bottom of the pond. Sullivan said he quickly dived to the bottom of the lake and pulled the nose from the 1978 Lincoln. He said human remains and a spade of jewelry were also found in the car. See, I think this, if they're alive, some of the family members, that will give them some closure at some point. To know that, well, now we can put the pieces together, right? To know this is why they never came back, right? It says here that they found a spade of jewelry and human remains. He said, quote unquote, we got to the pond about 10 a.m. in the morning and we found the car by 10:07. That's amazing. 7 minutes later, the pair who operates Sunshine State Sonar, a Florida-based volunteer search and rescue organization, called the police who arrived at the scene. The police came together and pulled the Lincoln from the water, and in doing so, spun the car around and ripped the axles off the car. I mean, they have a whole video of this and everything. Police did not say what happened to the car or the people found inside. Sullivan is convinced the remains are those of the couple and believes that they may have been inadvertently reversed into the pond while trying to park and drown in a tragic accident. Oh wow, that's what they. So when something like this comes out, there's going to be a lot of theories. I can pronounce that word today. Theories. So assumptions, I guess you can say, of what actually happened to this couple. So one of the divers is saying, but they probably were back in. I mean, these people were in their 70s, right? Mid-70s. They were probably getting to the hotel, parking, and got in reverse, and then got into the pond, and they were never able to get out. I mean, I can definitely see that happen, especially older couple. But like both of them couldn't get out. Like that's very strange, you know. The Romers checked into the Holiday Inn along Interstate 95 just before 4 p.m. on April 8, 1980, and took their belongings to the room. At around 5 p.m., a Georgia Harbor Patrol officer saw the couple south of Brunswick near some restaurants, and neither the Romers nor their car were seen again. So basically, they got there, right? They decided they're going to spend the night. They're traveling back up from Florida to New York. They're going to take the break, stay the night, check into the hotel 4 p.m. At 5 p.m., they go out to eat dinner, and they were never seen again. That is so sad. And, that's probably a theater, an idea of what could have happened to them. They probably got to a place after dinner and were probably trying to park, It's not a familiar area. It's something new. It was after probably nighttime already. And, just trying to get themselves around. But it's hard to believe that they both were submerged and unable to escape, and nobody heard anything. That was hard, It could have been also, like I said, so many theaters, so many ideas, that we can assume that happened to them, They will probably follow from the restaurant, or they went shopping or something. Somebody noticed that these people can actually buy a lot of stuff, It's a wealthy couple. So maybe they were followed to the hotel, right? Who knows? It could have been a million things. I just hope that, by this car being discovered and some of their belongings, they actually also found their driver's license with the initials. So this is such a, the pan is like right next to the hotel. I'm looking at the photos right now. And it's just so sad that, nobody saw anything. Like, that's crazy. Nobody heard no screaming, nobody saw anything, but even though it's been so many years, I think it's still good to at least kind of have an idea, some type of closure for the families to know what actually happened to them, right? So let's see what else says here. Oh, the pan has been checked many times and filled for the car, but zero visibility made it so difficult to find a car doing that. Sometimes you get lucky; it's very difficult, but they try, and they probably came within feet of the car, but didn't find it. That's the other thing. When things are gonna be for you, man, nobody's gonna take that away from you. I think it was this volunteer group who was meant to find that car, and it's so obvious because they went in 7 minutes. They located the car. So, let me know, guys, what you think about this story. It's so sad, but that's how life is. It's so fragile, right? I'm just glad, that at least if some of the family members are still alive, they get some type of closure just by knowing what happened to them. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel. Have a good day. God bless.